All right, everybody, welcome to the Nintendo Pulse podcast. Haven't said that in a while. Episode number 37. It's December. That's the month with all the snow here in Winnipeg. I'm just gonna look at something. I'm going to go to my website vgpodcast.com, and I'm going to the Nintendo Pulse section, and I'm looking at Nintendo Pulse episode number 36, which is one before 37.
Yeah, that was in July.
Yeah, July 24th. And I kind of know my numbers, so 37 does come after 36, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And you don't sound at all like Edgar. Is what I'm getting from this right now.
I've been unwell. No.
Cool. Well, let's get into this. Jokes aside, this is Nintendo Pulse 37. As always, I'm your host Lloyd Hannison, and joining me for this episode is not Edgar first. It's Stephen Munn. Stephen, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. I'll turn the music down just a touch. I had you on before. It was like a post E3 podcast way back in the day.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It was a long time ago, and you've done some podcasting in the past with the AeroPods guys and some stuff. So we thought we both are kind of Nintendo fanatics. I mean, you have a Wii U, I have a Wii U. You have a 3DS. I have a 3DS. You have a Nintendo Entertainment System.
I do.
Reaching there.
I have two of them.
do too. So there you go. So it kind of works out. So I thought since this is the normal Friday slot when we do a bonus stage, and Jeff couldn't join us, I thought, hey, this would be the perfect time to kind of breathe new life into the Nintendo Pulse podcast. So Stephen, thanks for agreeing to join me here. I can't talk, so that hasn't really changed from the last time I've done this show.
It's good to be here. Thanks.
So let's get into this. So it's been a while, obviously, since July, but a lot of stuff has happened. So obviously we're not going to cover all the news because we would be here for about 27 hours to go over all the big news stories that have happened since July. Obviously, the biggest thing is that the Nintendo Wii U came out. I picked one up on launch day. I love it. And if you want to hear kind of the initial, oh my God kind of stuff, from someone that had just gotten the system and then decided to do a show, you can check out the bonus stage episode number 15. So if you go to vgpodcast.com/bonus, you can look for number 15. And that's the bonus stage is the weekly podcasts I do every Friday. Obviously, except for this one because we had to cancel it. But we did a great show on the Wii U talking about all the games. I had Jeff Ward over here. We played all the games. He checked it out. He's kind of an anti-Nintendo kind of person ever since he got his Xboxes and his CODs. So it was kind of interesting to see what his thoughts were on the system, to the point where at the end he's like, I have nothing bad to say about this. I am very confused. I want to say bad things, but I can't. So if you want to hear that for yourself, you can go check out the bonus stage podcast episode number 15, and I will definitely post links to that in the show notes. Also, some last announcements. Since the last time we did a show, I've revved the VG Podcast website. So if you go to vgpodcast.com, everything looks different. I mean, it kind of looks the same, but it looks a fair bit different. And basically I changed what I was doing with the website because it was getting slow. I had a whole slew of plugins to make things kind of look the way I wanted. The theme that I was using was old. It was probably about 2.5 years old. So there was better things to do stuff. So kind of rebuilt this one from the ground up using a base theme, and it's now responsive as well. So if you view it on an iPad or an iPhone, you're going to get a properly sized version of the website for whatever device you're on, which is a huge improvement for I guess than what it was before. You can even look at it on like your television on your Wii U browser, and it looks pretty damn decent as well. The audio doesn't play. Still something I'm working on, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So if you haven't been there for a while, check out the look over at vgpodcasts.com. All right, so before we get into what we've been playing, we kind of introduced you a little bit, Stephen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself to the listeners who maybe didn't hear that one show we did.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Stephen Munn. I run CastlemaniaBlog.com, which is a blog entirely about the Castlevania video game franchise, of course, and all the things that have spun off of it, the various stabs at movies that they've made and failed. and the music and everything like that. All that stuff is coming from, years and years back. I moved some of it over from farbot.com and some of it over from Aeropause, where I used to write. And I was on the Aero podcast when that was running, which was obviously the podcast for aeropause.com, and that's done now. That's over with. Everybody's moved on, and a lot of them are at ggsgamer.com now. And I've been in a few episodes of the new podcast that those guys have there. It's called "You Like the Worst Stuff." Yeah, it's mainly about pop culture. So it's in name, it's about pop culture, but when we're all on there, it ends up being almost entirely about video games. So
cool. So are you glad to be on a podcast now that isn't about stuff that you hate?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because we can talk about things you hate if you really want to, but
I'm sure we'll get to that at some point.
Okay.
We'll talk about Xbox or something.
Awesome. All right. Well,
I'm just kidding. I have an Xbox.
Okay. So you're obviously not Jeff because you're hating on the Xbox. So
right.
That would be wrong. That's
Yes.
the anti-Jeff thing. All right. Well, let's get into the meat of the show. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing. Obviously, stuff that we've been playing recently, not everything that we've played since July, because that would be a large list. So, Stephen, why don't you kick it off with some of the stuff that you've been playing recently?
I've been playing a lot of on my 3DS. I use my 3DS every day now. Carry it around in my pocket, count the steps, get the coins. Just beat Find Me 2 the other day, but outside of that,
Nice.
I've mainly just been playing Super Mario 3D Land, which is a really, really good Mario game. It's a lot of fun. I love replaying the levels to get the big coins, which is something that I wish I could say for New Super Mario Bros. U. But I'm really not feeling it. When I play it, I have a good time, but I don't feel any pull, to get back into it and play it more. And I'm not a big fan of ghost houses anymore, and I hate having to hunt around for hidden doors and things like that. It's frustrating.
Right.
Also been playing Nintendo Land on my Wii U, which was really good until it started freezing on me all the time.
It's freezing on you.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that particular bug. Is it happening just in certain games or?
No, it's everywhere. There's a bug in the code that relates to the Miiverse integration. Apparently, if you're using an account that has Miiverse access, there are people who think that if somebody posts something on Miiverse using certain characters in it, it will freeze your Wii U when the Wii U goes to retrieve that text, and it doesn't matter where you are in the game, it'll just lock up.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nintendo has released a patch for the system since that freezing problem was happening, but I haven't seen any patches for Nintendo Land, so I don't know if it's fixed.
Wow, I haven't started Nintendo Land up for about the last 2 weeks or so. I used it a fair bit on the first few days, but I've basically moved on to real games, not the kind of mini game kind of stuff. But I never experienced that. I'm gonna have to definitely fire it up tomorrow and have a peek to see if that's something that I'm gonna be experiencing as well.
Yeah, and watch out for it though, because it's a hard lock. It's not something where you can power the system off. You have to unplug it, and if it's downloading at the time, you could brick it.
Nice. That is great.
Yeah, so I play using my daughter's profile. She doesn't have a Nintendo Network ID, so it's effectively the exact same experience. I can still use my Mii in there. She uses her Mii. We play all the games, and there's no crashes or lockups at all.
Right. Wow, bizarre. I didn't know that, so I learned something today. That's kind of cool.
But my favorite game for the Wii U so far is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, which is not something I expected at all.
So your favorite game is not even a Nintendo game?
Right.
Wow.
The game is only $40. It's on every platform. But on Wii U, you can play split screen without splitting the screen.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So my daughter will play on the controller, and I'll play on the screen, or vice versa. And we have a great time. And it's a very fast, fun racing game. Cool characters, cool cars, fun weapons and power-ups. It's pretty much everything I would not expect from a Sonic game. in 2012.
So is it comparable to a Mario Kart? Like, is it as good, or
it compares very favorably to a Mario Kart. It's a much faster and crazier game than Mario Kart.
Right.
But it's hard to make the comparison. I mean, there's a lot of people on Miiverse who are saying they like it better than Mario Kart. I don't know. I've still been playing a lot of Mario Kart 7 on my 3DS, and it's really hard to compare the two, but it definitely stands up.
Because I've been eyeing it on, like, I'll drop into the Wii shop every once in a while, and I see the icon, and I'm like, I kind of want to play a racing game with my kids. This would be fun. Is there like a battle mode and everything in it?
There are all kinds of alternate modes. There's a drift challenges where you have to kind of drift over certain zones on the track to gain seconds. And then you get more and more time so you can race longer and stuff like that. Some of that stuff was glitched by a day one patch, the day one patch that came out for it that put in the the Miiverse integration and stuff.
Right.
Broke some of those challenges, but they have since been patched and fixed. Wow. And like I said, the game's only $40, and the launch run of the game is all bonus edition. It all says bonus edition on it. There's a red banner across the top, and it has a couple of racer drivers in there that are not going to be in later pressings of the game. I don't know if the eShop version has that stuff.
Huh. And what drivers are they? Is it like the Crazy Taxi dude or something like that?
No, I'm pretty sure he's in there all the time. He's I think my favorite driver in the thing so far. Metal Sonic is one of them.
Okay.
And there are some others too, but I haven't unlocked them yet. I mean, it indicates them with a little red crown,
right?
Because it also levels them up all the way, apparently, which I didn't know. Because your drivers actually level up; they gain experience and level up in the game.
Well, that's kind of cool. I'll have to look into that one as well, because that's the kind of a genre that I've wanted to play on my system. But obviously, Mario Kart's not out yet. But this might be a nice kind of secondary kind of driving experience to have on the system.
It's great. I love it. And the other thing on there is the Rayman Legends demo that just came out, I think last night or the night before. I played through that, and it's every bit as good as I thought it would be. I mean, this is the game that I bought my Wii U for, is Rayman Legends. It's the only announced game on it that I really, really wanted to play.
Right. Unfortunately, it wasn't a launch title.
And the demo was supposed to be. They were saying the demo was going to be in the eShop on day one, and it's pretty far after day one. It's almost a month.
Well, it's still in the launch window, though. So, I mean, that's kind of like day one, right?
Oh, Nintendo in their launch window.
Yeah, fun stuff. So it's good. How much gameplay is in it? I know you can only play it 30 times or something before it times out.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're so ass backwards.
Nintendo and their limits. I don't understand.
I played it. I've played it twice so far. The first time I booted it up and had to turn it back off again because I didn't have time to play it. Right. And the second time I played through all of the content in less than half an hour. It's a pretty small demo. It's, I think, 3 stages from the game and a big cinematic, which looks gorgeous. And it shows off 3 different mechanics, three different mechanics that you play in the game. So it's neat.
Cool. I'll definitely be downloading that one tonight, and possibly say Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing Transformed or whatever.
There's no word Sega in there.
Oh, it's just
this
Sonic.
time around they took that out, so it's just Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed.
Wow, that makes no sense. That is very awkward to say.
Not all of them are Sega characters now. That's the thing.
Okay, well that makes sense.
They have Wreck-It Ralph and Danica Patrick.
Oh, I heard about that. That's right. Why would you have Danica Patrick in a video game?
I don't know.
But all right, there you go. Danica Patrick. Does she have GoDaddy on her car still? No, she's not the spokesperson anymore.
I think so, because
in
the title screen it's like, oh, Danica Patrick is a trademark of Danica Patrick, and GoDaddy.com is a
awesome. That is
a
great.
Trademark of that too. So
cool. So that's about all you've been playing. That's a lot.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Cool. I mean, there's some other stuff, but I mean, I'd be here all day.
Cool. So let's move into a little bit what I've been doing for the last little while. I picked up Crashmo, which is a sequel to Pushmo, which is a game that we reviewed here on the show. I loved Pushmo. Crashmo is it's different. It's a lot more difficult, but I think it's like a far better game. So if you remember Pushmo, basically you're pushing blocks in and out of a 3D space to kind of make little platforms to jump on, and you have to get to the top of the thing and rescue somebody. In Pushmo, you have to rescue birds, and you do that by pushing and pulling blocks. The difference with this one is you can't just push a block or pull a block out, which like wouldn't be able to like stand on its own, because it will now fall. So you'll have things that are kind of like gravity is taking place, and so you're pulling blocks out to make other blocks fall, to then push them in other locations to then use them as platforms. So it is a lot more difficult, and it is a much better game. So I picked that one up. I think it's like $7 or something like that. Also been playing Paper Mario Sticker Star, which I've been waiting for ever since it was launched. So I love Paper Mario. I love the franchise, love everything about it, even like the Mario RPGs and all that kind of that game, taking the characters and using them in a different way. Sticker Star is a little bit different because unlike Paper Mario or the RPG, where you kind of learn moves and then you can use them repeatedly, in Sticker Star, you're finding stickers, and they're single-use stickers. So you might find a really great like hammer sticker to hammer a turtle that has a spike on his back. But once you use it, that sticker is gone, and you have to go buy more or find more or win more. So it kind of takes things and kind of throws them on their head a little bit. Still really enjoying it. It's actually the first 3DS full title that I downloaded from the eShop just to check that out. I love having it on my 3DS at all times now, so I don't have to worry about like taking my 3DS to work and then saying, I want to play some Sticker Star, but my cartridge is at home. I can kind of just keep a game in and then pop that one in, or start that one rather, without having to pop in a cartridge. So it's been really convenient and really great. I'm about halfway through. I think I've been playing it for a little bit, so I'm taking it a little bit slower than I normally do, just because there's so many other games to play right now. But I still really dig it. So probably do a review in the next. The next year sometime, since it's almost the end of 2012, because I'll probably take another few weeks to a month to kind of make my way through and beat that one. I'm also playing Skylanders Giants on the 3DS. I liked Skylanders Spyro's Adventure on the 3DS. Don't really like Giants as much. It seems a little bit more janky and kind of glitchy. I'm going to try to give it another big go through over the holidays, but as far as it is right now, I'm not a huge fan of that, even though I love everything else Skylanders that I've ever touched. Of course, I have the Wii U, so I've been playing Nintendo Land as well. Don't really play it as much. My favorite Nintendo Land feature, since it's kind of like a little carnival or theme park, is the Luigi's Mansion one, where you have three guys or up to three people with flashlights chasing after a ghost. I played that with the kids. The kids love it. I played it with friends. I even played it with Jeff when he was here, and he was like laughing his ass off. So I definitely find that as my feature attraction. How about you, Stephen? What's the favorite game in Nintendo Land, or do you really have one?
I've played. I think I've played pretty much all of them now. The Pikmin one is really cool. I just really love the style of it. But I think that my daughter and I have had the most fun with Mario Chase and with Yoshi's Fruit Cart and Animal Crossing. Sweet Day.
Right. So those are all fun. I've only played each of those once, just to say, oh yeah, I tried it. But the one that I keep coming back to is the Luigi's Mansion, which is pretty fun. I also picked up New Super Mario Bros. U. You said you are kind of cold on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite way. It's more reminiscent of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World than any of the other Mario games that have come out recently. I like the branching paths. I like having to find things. Apparently, if you beat all the stages with all 3 coins, you unlock another set of levels. I'm probably never going to do that, because I too find the chore of finding all 3 coins a little bit too much. It's not as enjoyable. The one thing I really like about New Super Mario is playing with my kids, because my daughter or whatever will play, and she'll be playing with the Wiimote, and you hold the Wiimote sideways, just like you normally would play New Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo Wii. But then I'll play with the gamepad, and you can do a cooperative mode where you can touch the screen with the stylus or your finger, and it makes a little platform appear for a few seconds. And so I can save her from falling in a pit. You can also do things like touch the enemies in the levels, and if you do that, the enemies will kind of go blah, and they get all freaked out for a split second. So we're kind of playing it together, and I'm sort of kind of saving her from dying. Of course, sometimes I mistap, and I'll put a platform on top of her head, and I actually cause her to fall in a hole, and she laughs her head off. So she finds that almost as enjoyable as getting to the end of the level. So I'm lucky there, because I tried that with my wife and did it a bunch of times in a row, and I thought the Wiimote was going to be put somewhere where it would be very, very difficult and painful to find again. So I stopped doing that with the wife, but the kids love that. So that's been a lot of fun. I don't know. I really like the game. It has a really cool Miiverse integration, so you'll see like little balloons as in the levels, and you can just ignore them. But if you want to see what the balloons are, you hit I believe it's like the left trigger or something. I can't even remember what the button press is. And when you do that, those little balloons turn into messages, so you can kind of see what people have said after completing those levels. And I find it's just kind of cool to see sort of other people playing with you, even though obviously they're not playing with you, because those are messages that they're leaving on their own console. But it kind of really just sort of drove home Nintendo, I don't know, kind of actually understanding the fact that there is an internet, not only utilizing it, but saying, oh yeah, there's this internet thing. Maybe we can do new and innovative things with it, which has been, which is kind of weird for Nintendo, because, well, it's Nintendo. No one needs the internet. No one needs to download stuff. That's not what Nintendo does. So I've kind of really enjoyed the game. I am kind of tired of ghost houses too, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. But everything else, I don't know. I kind of dig it. It's very, very cheery. Like the enemies even kind of dance in some of the levels. Like you'll get the turtle will kind of just pause for a frame and just go, do a little dance and then continue.
Everything dances or hops or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I really, really dig it. And the fact that like little touches, like when you throw a fireball, the level is fully rendered in 3D, and it's fully like light sourced as well. So your fireball actually emits light. So you'll see like the ground get a little bit brighter as the fireball gets close to it, and then it disappears as the fireball bounces or whatever. Obviously that does absolutely nothing to the gameplay. It doesn't add anything to the game, but it adds a lot to the immersion. There's like some of the levels, it seems like there's like 30 levels of parallax as you're walking, and just little touches like that. Like there's particle things in some levels where you just get like little like pollen spores and things just kind of floating in the air. Of course, it's a Mario game. It's a 2D platformer. You don't need all these fancy graphical effects. But it's kind of really nice that it's actually Nintendo's actually utilizing the HD of the HD system and adding all these little kind of graphical like polish to the game to kind of make it look nice. So I don't know. I kind of really dig it. But unlike pretty much every other Mario game that I've bought, I haven't just put it in my system and played through until I kill Bowser. I've kind of been taking it in little bite-sized pieces. I don't know whether it's because I'm kind of tired of Mario games, since I've played like 3 on the 3DS and a bunch on the Wii, and maybe I'm kind of tired of them, maybe. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm kind of enjoying kind of taking it a little bit slower, which is good. I also picked up ZombiU at launch, which is, of course, Ubisoft's big zombie thriller, and I was very surprised with this game. It is very, very hard. It's very punishing, but as I told people the day after I bought the system, it is more Resident Evil than Resident Evil has been in like a decade, which really surprises me. I didn't think I'd enjoy a true survival horror game again. I loved the first Resident Evil. I loved Resident Evil 2 and 3. And then as it started getting more kind of, I don't know, action oriented, where you'd get little button presses that would appear on the screen, or you're more concerned with aiming your laser sight on your gun at the heads of the crazy zombie monsters that have worms sprouting out of their neck. It became less a survival horror game and more just a kind of a tense shooter. ZombiU is fully survival horror. You will die, and you will die a lot. And when you die, you start the game off again with 5 bullets in your gun. Everything that you found is now gone. And they've done something really cool that you can go get your stuff back, but you have to kill your old self, who is now a zombie and will kind of try to bite your face off. So really, really dig it. It does some really cool things where you're kind of iterating on your powers. So you can get power-ups that will carry you across all your characters. So you might die, but you'll be a little bit better than you were at the start of the game. You'll have your little, like, you can hold the gamepad up as a scanner. It has a little radar thing. Initially there's no radar on the gamepad. Then you get this little sonar pulse that you can touch the screen to do a sonar pulse. Eventually you'll upgrade it so it will automatically just send out pings every few seconds, and all those upgrades stay across all your characters as well. You earn the ability to get kind of like a zombicide kind of thing, where you can instantly kill a zombie with a syringe to their neck, and that only happens when the zombie is about to like eat your face, like he's launching at you to bite your face. You hit him with kind of this zombie cure, which actually just makes his body like essentially like fizzle and explode. And then you have to find a specific kind of zombie to take another dose of that stuff out of it. So I don't know, I really, really like it. I've read some reviews where people hate it. I've read reviews where people think it's the best thing ever. I'm just really happy that I'm enjoying it. So if you're kind of curious about playing another survival horror game, you might want to check out ZombiU if you have a Wii U. Also picked up Scribblenauts, which, I don't know. I have a hard time knowing what to think about this game. It's $60, and to me it seems like it has just a little bit more content than the Scribblenauts game that I downloaded on the iPad for $3. The game is set into different worlds and different levels, so you have a certain number of star rights you have to collect in each kind of level, and there's a certain number of levels in a world. When you get a certain number of star rights, you can then unlock other levels. But the game can pretty much be completed with 2 items. Like, you can either make a sleeping pill, or you can make a machine gun or a gun of some sort. And you can pretty much beat everything with that. So it becomes kind of boring because you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And the only thing that really kind of redeems the game is the cool little animations after you solve someone's problem. So I don't know. It seems like a game that's pretty light on content for $60. So I haven't beaten it yet because I'm kind of disappointed that I could beat it in a couple sittings. So I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see if I get back to it. I downloaded that one digitally as well, so it stares at me on my home screen whenever I boot up the system, and it's just like, I should play this, but if I play it for a few more minutes, I will beat it, and then there'll be nothing else to play. So I'm just gonna leave it. So yeah, that's Scribblenauts. What else? I downloaded AC3, Assassin's Creed 3. I did a digital download on that one as well. It is a large game. It is 16 gigabytes. It took 10 hours to come down and install.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, I did it on a Saturday thinking I could spend a good part of the afternoon playing some Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it finished at like midnight that night, and I was like, all right, so much for that. So I thought Nintendo's network was really fast. Scribblenauts was about 1.5 gigs. It downloaded in what seemed like 10 minutes. So I don't know whether their servers were really busy or there was some internet issues or something. But yeah, it was slow. I really like the game. It's nice having the map always on the gamepad. It's nice. It's nice being able to call your horse just by hitting a button on the gamepad itself instead of having to go through a menu system. But other than that, it's essentially the exact same game that's across all the other platforms. They didn't really do anything too exciting with the gamepad. So I don't really need to say too much more about it. If you've seen other Assassin's Creed reviews, you kind of know what the game is, and you can kind of go from there. And then kind of the most quirky-ish, kind of awesome-ish game that I've downloaded is a game called Little Inferno. It's by the Tomorrow Company, and they did World of Goo. And it's a game that costs, I believe, like $12 or $15. And essentially, it is a fireplace simulator. So you buy objects and you throw them in a fireplace. You light them on fire. They burn. They spew forth more coins. You use those coins to buy other items. You put them in the fireplace. You light them on fire. They burn. And that's essentially all the game is. But there's actually a bit of a story to this game where once you get near the end of the game, you understand that like the whole game itself is kind of like this. It's kind of like this statement on like, I don't know, Zynga and how people are throwing like in-app purchase money away at this game to make things go faster. Of course, in this game, you don't have to actually spend any money, but you can kind of hurry it along with kind of like the premium currency that you sometimes get for free. So it's kind of like it's kind of a statement about the state of casual gaming. It's also kind of a statement on, the spendthrift nature that everybody has, where it's like, yeah, just buy more stuff and use it and then throw it out when you don't need it anymore. In this case, you're throwing it into a fireplace and lighting it on fire. And then after you do a certain number of combos, you unlock other things. And then eventually there is kind of an end game where it actually, the story kind of fleshes out and you kind of figure out more about what this game is all about. I loved it. I really, really loved everything about it. I think it's a little bit pricey at $15 because I think I beat it in about 3.5 hours. So not that much gameplay. There's a particular item in the game called, Kitty Poo Poo Plushie. Which my kids absolutely love because when it starts burning, eventually it just defecates all over the screen and there's cat poo everywhere that then also starts on fire. So the favorite thing for the kids is for me to buy 7 of them because you can have, after you upgrade your little kind of shelf, you can have up to 7 items in the fireplace, and they want me to burn all of the kitties at the same time, all of the stuffed kitties, so that they crap, and then this big huge like raging inferno of feces appears on the screen, which actually is the fire model in this game is actually really amazing. Like they're actually they're simulating the particle physics of flames, but when you have 7 cats and 7 full bowels of crap burning at the same time, it actually slows the Wii U down to like a few frames a second.
Wow.
For about 5 seconds and then continues on. So I'm taxing the CPU of my Wii U with crap, and that is Little Inferno. It was fun. You can also do these. There's a couple items that actually have their own like gravitational force. So they also like me to put like the moon in the middle of the screen and then have all the feces rotate around the moon while it's on fire. So my kids just like potty humor. So I love them for it. That just makes everything so much better in the house. So that's pretty much it. That's what I've been playing. What do you say we get into the rest of the show?
Sounds good.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit more about some Wii U news. So, the first is the big news story that Nintendo was really, really happy to let everybody know, and that is they sold 435,000 units in the U.S. in the first week, which is right up there with how much the Wii sold. I think they sold 475,000. So it's a pretty damn good selling system. People were really worried about what the Wii would do, and they'd say, yeah, there'll be millions of fanboys that'll buy it, but no one else will. But on the opening weekend, to completely sell out, essentially, I think they did pretty good for themselves. I don't know. What do you think, Steven? Do you think Nintendo has anything to worry about right now?
I think they're respectable numbers.
Definitely think they're respectable. I definitely think they've put out more Wii U's than the Wii did, because I can go into stores now and I'll see them every once in a while. They don't last long, but I can remember when the Wii was new, I found one on a fluke because I didn't pre-order it because I was an idiot. I thought it would be available. Everybody thought it would be available, and it wouldn't sell it like crazy. But I can remember walking into, there's a store in town called Superstore, which is kind of like a big box grocery store. And I can remember seeing this cart wheeling towards me, and it had 8 Wii U's sitting on top of it, 8 Wii's sitting on top of it. And people would see it and they would run at this cart coming from like far away, like, I don't know, 100 meters on the other side of the store, wheeling out. And they would make a beeline sprinting at this thing, grab 1 or 2 Wii's, and then run to go pay for it. That is how in demand the system was. Like they wheeled 8 from the back room, and it didn't even get to the actual electronics department because people were like grabbing them before they could even get there. I haven't seen that kind of like crazy psychosis about the Wii U, but I was talking to a guy over at Best Buy, and he's like, yeah, we get them in all the time, and they don't last long. Like it always looks like we have some because we're always getting shipments in. Like every few days when we get a big shipment in the store, we're always getting new consoles, but they sell they sell out pretty much after a day or so of sitting on the shelf. So I think that's really good for Nintendo. I think that's a really healthy thing for them to have.
Definitely. They really weren't meeting demand for the Wii at launch.
No.
It took a good 2 years before you could find one just sitting on the shelf in the US.
Yeah, and I mean, if they would have made 1 million more a month, they would have sold them. Like everybody and their dog wanted Wiis, which, I mean, I guess was a good thing. It looks like the Wii U is going to be not as crazy, but it's going to still sell pretty well. I guess until the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox 720 comes out, and we'll see maybe at E3 what those systems are going to entail. But I think Nintendo has a good hit on their hands for right now, and they'll be able to sell a good chunk of these ones. Some interesting numbers. I found an infographic that Gamma Sutra put out, and it just shows the U.S. hardware launch numbers. So in the three days that were tracked for the PlayStation 2, they sold 391,000 or 130,000 per day. So that's the number one. That is the system that sold the most. I can remember when the PlayStation 2 launched and they were selling on eBay for $2,000, and they were selling on eBay for $2,000. They're not just listing for $2,000. They were selling for $2,000. And I was really angry because I had a chance to buy 3 and I didn't, and I would have made a lot of money because I would have been one of those jerks. But thankfully I was not. And then it goes on to the Xbox. The number that they used is the first 17 days it was on the market, it sold 712,000, so 42K a day. GameCube sold 46K a day, Xbox 360 65K a day, PlayStation 3 22K per day, the Wii 68K a day, and the Wii U 61K a day. So it's doing pretty good in comparison to all the other consoles that have come out over the last couple generations, at least in the first week or two of numbers that were being tracked. So it's not a failure like a lot of industry analysts and Nintendo haters were predicting.
Yep.
Which is a good thing. Moving on. If you're in Europe and you want to buy a game like ZombiU, prepare to get up really, really early or stay up really, really late. So this came to light last week. I saw a lot of people talking about it. If you're in Europe and you have a European Wii U, and you want to buy a game that's rated 18 plus on the PEGI 18 scale, you can only buy this game between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. in your time zone. How insane does that sound, Stephen?
That is pretty crazy, but not surprising considering this is coming out of Germany and they are extremely stodgy over there.
Yeah, they don't like fun in Germany. They really don't like fun. They like people to be grumpy and wear leather. That's about all those Germans do. But yeah, it's basically Nintendo Europe is basically inside of Germany, and Germany has some really strict rules on content guidelines. There's games that reference like Nazi Germany that cannot be sold there. There's games that have blood in them, and the blood has to be censored out. It's like Nintendo of old when Mortal Kombat came out, and all the blood was replaced with gray sweat because Nintendo didn't want blood on their system. You could rip someone's head off, but only sweat would come out of it. Kind of really, really weird rules. So yeah, if you're in Europe, unfortunately, Germany has kind of ruined all your fun and is going to make you really, really tired because you can only buy the really kind of mature games between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., which is really, really bizarre. So ZombiU won't sell very well except during those hours. Some other interesting things around Club Nintendo, and if you bought a deluxe set of the Wii U, they had the sticker that says includes Nintendo Digital Deluxe Digital Deluxe promotion. And it was like, what the hell is Digital Deluxe promotion? Nintendo said it's these points you're going to get. And it's like, well, you already have Club Nintendo. So we'll talk about Club Nintendo first. You're a Club Nintendo member, I assume, Steven?
I am. Yep, I got my gold nunchuck.
Oh, you got a gold nunchuck. I wanted to get it, but I thought I don't want to waste the 900 coins. Maybe I should do it because I have about 1,200 on my account right now. Have you noticed that any games that you pop in your system seem to appear in your Club Nintendo profile without you having to type in a code?
No, I've had to register everything except for digital downloads.
Really? Because when I first popped in ZombiU, it just appeared right on my Club Nintendo. That also happened for New Super Mario Brothers as well. And that was on day one. So maybe this was different. I haven't bought an actual physical game. I've only bought digital downloads since then. But it looks like some games are being auto-registered by Nintendo when you play them on your system. I haven't seen any more talk of it except past the first week. So maybe this was kind of a reward for the early adopters just to take one step away from them. But it shows that if nothing else, Nintendo is being a little bit big brotherish. So they know what you're doing on your system. So you better be good, boys and girls. Don't buy those games before 11 p.m. or they'll know what's happening. But the Digital Deluxe promotion is live, and what that entails is you essentially are getting 10% back on all of your digital purchases. So you can log into the website. It's a really bizarre website. It's not linked to Club Nintendo at all. So if you go to it's p.nintendo.net/deluxe, which is a very catchy URL that I'm sure you'll remember without any help. You can log into, or you can create an account first if you haven't, or sign into your Club Nintendo account, I guess. You create a profile on that website. And when you do it, it's basically going to show you all of your digital downloads that you've made on the system. And if you get 500 points, you can then turn those 500 points into a $5 coupon code, which you can then enter into your eShop. You can enter it either on 3DS or Wii U. And to get 500 points, you basically have to buy a game that's worth $50 or buy $50 worth of content, essentially. So I bought Assassin's Creed 3. It was $59.99 on the eShop. It gave me 599 points, which then gave me a code. I've now received 2 codes, and I'm 4 points away from getting another code. So I'm gonna have to buy something just to get another $5 code. So then
it's working on you.
It is definitely working on me. It's like, oh, if I spend another $1 or another $5, I'll have enough to get a $5 coupon to then make my next purchase $5 cheaper. Wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. But essentially, it's just going to be a bit of a promotion to keep people buying stuff digitally. It's going to basically train them that any game that is available, well, not any game, but most of the games that are available, you can just download right on your console and not go wait in line, not drive through a foot of snow if you live in Winnipeg. You can just download it, and if it's a game like Assassin's Creed 3, it's going to take you 12 hours to do. But anyway, that's what the Digital Deluxe promotion is. It's going to be running for the next year and a chunk. I think it's at the next 18 months or so. Nintendo hasn't said whether they're going to extend it. I'm sure that if this does really well and they get a lot of people buying stuff digitally, like they seem to be pushing digital like crazy across all of their platforms right now. If Nintendo finds that people are doing it, maybe they'll extend it. It seems like a nice bonus to people that don't have people that they trade games with or never want to sell their games in. Like I rarely trade anything at all. I like having the boxes, but I also like not having to put discs in my system and get up off the couch because I'm a lazy sack apparently. So I like certain games buying them digitally. Like any Mario game, like Mario Kart, something that I would play a lot, I will definitely buy digitally. Other games like Assassin's Creed, I only bought it digitally because I didn't want to go out in the snowstorm that we were having at that particular time, and it was convenient. And then it took 12 hours, and I realized it wasn't very convenient at all. So any big games like that, I'll probably buy at the store. But I don't know, it's a neat little bonus for deluxe system buyers. Which is weird because you think they want to reward the people that have spent the least amount on it as well, because those are people that probably maybe couldn't afford the deluxe system. So maybe that 10% off of games digitally would be something that would be really kind of up their alley. So I don't know, kind of really, really weird. I don't really get it. So those are the 2 digital promotions that Nintendo's doing right now. They're Club Nintendo and Digital Deluxe promotion. All right, Stephen, you wanted to give a public service announcement to all the parents out there that are buying Wii U's for Christmas for their family. Yes. What is your number one tip for those people? You
have that huge day one patch.
Yeah.
If you're getting a Wii U or you're getting someone a Wii U, set the system up either the night before or even a few days in advance, because there's going to be such a bottleneck downloading that it's already such a slow download, even when it's not super in demand. Mm-hmm. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like on Christmas morning. and they start up the system and it doesn't even say, well, if you say no, it'll just download it in the background and you can just play games while you're waiting. It doesn't tell you that when you're starting it up, but you can. So if you don't have a way to open it, if you open that Wii U on Christmas morning, you start it up and it tells you, okay, do a system update, say no, say not now, say cancel. It'll do the download in the background while you're playing the games, and when it's done, it'll let you know. Otherwise, you won't be playing for a day. I mean, my downloads took hours, especially including the Wii transfer to Wii U. And speaking of that, if you're going to do that, delete all the channels. Delete all the Wii channels. Delete all your virtual console games. The saves will stay on the system, and they'll transfer over to your new system.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be a much faster process because I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go into the Wii menu on your Wii U and you go into the Wii Shop channel and you download something, it goes very, very fast.
Yeah, it is very, very quick.
Yeah, compared to how it was on the regular Wii, it was incredibly slow.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually found it faster to re-download games and put them directly on the SD card while in that Wii menu than it was to transfer them over. I watched a single Super NES game take 10 minutes to transfer from my old system to the new one.
Well, that's quick.
It's insane.
Super, super fast.
It's insane.
I'm amazed Nintendo can do it so quickly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, gosh, and you can't turn it off during that update.
Yeah. Yeah, if you
power it off or unplug it, you can brick the Wii U.
Yeah, you will be calling Nintendo support Christmas morning to say, I'm an idiot, I killed the system. How do I send it in to get repaired? Because Nintendo won't give you one and wait for yours to come in. You're going to have to get a box, send it in, and then wait. That's a really good tip. Do the update first so the kids can just have fun with it on Christmas morning, or the husbands can have fun with it on Christmas morning, or the wives, or whoever it's for.
Whoever's getting it, yeah.
Because I was actually kind of lucky. I bought it on release day. I was reading Twitter that morning and everybody's like, oh my God, this update's taking 2 hours. It's the worst thing ever. And it's like, oh crap. So I bought this system. I waited out in the cold to be let into the store, and now I'm going to have to go home and wait to play my new baby. And the actual update only took about 25 minutes to download and a few minutes to install, like maybe 10 minutes to install. So I was really lucky compared to everybody else that I heard. Maybe there's like Canadian servers and maybe they weren't being as taxed as the US servers or something. But it could take a while. Like I talked to a lot of people that it took over an hour definitely to download and then another 10-15 minutes to install.
I wonder if it's the bits to boats exchange rate.
Yeah, it could be. That makes sense. That makes sense. So update those consoles before giving them, because if you turn it off, you will make a nice doorstop, which no one needs more of. You have your Wii, which you won't use anymore, so you can just use that as the doorstop and keep your Wii U in working condition.
My Wii actually is serving as an excellent GameCube in my bedroom now.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing the Wii U doesn't do. It's backwards compatible with only Wii games. So if you want to play those GameCube games and you don't have a GameCube, you don't have your purple system with a handle, you definitely will need to keep a Wii around to play those as well.
Oh, and the Wii U does a really good job with the Wii games. I mean, it plays them it renders them at 480p, but it upscales them. It does hardware upscaling to 1080 or whatever you're running at. So they look really crisp over HDMI. You still have the same textures, and like I said, it is still rendering at the same resolution, but it's a much cleaner digital signal than you get over the component cables.
Totally. It's similar to, you see people posting videos or screenshots of them running the Dolphin emulator on their PC, which basically takes the game and just up-reses it to 1080p. It's not quite as clean as a lot of those screens, but
because that actually re-renders them at the full resolution.
Exactly. It's a little bit different, but this looks good enough. Like if you have a 720p screen, I mean, it's going to look beautiful. 1080p, it's going to be a little bit more muddy, but even then, it's not going to be that bad. It's definitely going to look a lot better than your nice 480p super expensive cables that you bought for your Wii to play on your nice plasma or LCD television. It's going to look a lot better than that, which is a really good thing. Okay, cool. Moving on. Let's give you guys a little bit of bad news. I was a longtime Nintendo Power subscriber. I had the first 4 years of Nintendo Power, every episode or every issue, and then for about the first 10 years, I had the bulk of them. Like there'd be, I'd forget to renew, and then I'd miss one or two issues, and then I'd have another 12, and then miss one, and then have another 12, and then miss a couple, and then not renew. So I'd buy them on the store shelves and only have about 7 of that year. So I had the bulk of the first 10 years of Nintendo Power, and then I stopped subscribing, and then I moved, and then I realized that carrying around these big boxes that were about 100 pounds of old dead trees, I was like, I don't need these anymore. Who needs Nintendo Power? I have the internet. I don't need to look at these garbage things anymore. And I threw them all out, which now really makes me sad. But anyway, Nintendo Power is now a dead magazine. They released this issue, Nintendo Power, the final issue, December 2012, issue number 285. So this one is available on store shelves right now. It comes with a really cool little poster that shows every cover of Nintendo Power ever. This cover is actually kind of cool because it's kind of a play on the first Nintendo Power issue. It looks very similar to that. But yeah, it's kind of the end of an era. Nintendo Power is now gone. Did you get your issue, Stephen?
I haven't had a subscription to Nintendo Power for about a year and a half. I just let it lapse.
You didn't buy one on store shelves or anything like that?
No, when they stopped offering any kind of a bonus, it used to be you could get like a bonus, whether it was a book or some kind of a disc or something. Yeah, strategy guide with your subscription. When they stopped offering that stuff, I really didn't see any point.
Yeah. I bought the issue just because it brought back a lot of memories. I bought 2 actually. I'm going to keep one kind of locked away, not because it's ever going to be worth money, but it's just going to be kind of cool to have an issue that hasn't been touched later in life. But I think the best part of this issue, other than the fact that you have all of like a whole bunch of Nintendo writers from way back in the day, and even the current writers kind of talk about some of their favorite memories, which is really cool. But the best part is right at the back of the issue, you have an old Nestor comic, Nestor and Max. So if you remember Nintendo Power back in the day, they had these comics, and you had Nestor, the game counselor, who would get into like stupid things and then find some way to get himself out. This one is him and his son, and they're talking about the death of Nintendo Power, and it actually was kind of touching. Which is really, really kind of weird. And then, of course, the last panel is a big game over. Thank you for reading kind of thing. So it was just, it was really cool to check it out. It's definitely an end of an era. I spent many a year pretty much only reading about games in Nintendo Power because I did not really get a lot of video games as I was a kid. We did not have the money to buy video games too much. So I would basically get a subscription to Nintendo Power for my birthday. And that would be my video game content for the year. I would play games over at friends' houses and rent games, but any new games, I would pretty much be like pretending to be playing them by reading magazines. So it holds a lot of great memories in my heart. So anyway, Nintendo Power is now dead. So rush out and get your issue if you want a copy, because I know they're flying off store shelves. In my area, the store that I went to, they got 5 times the number of issues that they normally get, and they sold all in one day. So they're selling out pretty good. One thing I really hope Nintendo does is come out with like an iPad app that has like every issue of Nintendo Power digitally available. That would be really cool. I'd pay $50 for that. Nintendo, get on it. I'd give you good money to get digital copies of all these old magazines. It would be pretty cool. Would be good. Steven's looking at me. You're crazy spending $50 for digital versions of old magazines. What are you doing?
Well, there's actually people who have been scanning all the old Nintendo Powers online, so you can actually get them as PDFs. That's not legal, but
I may or may not. I can neither confirm nor deny that I have a lot of those sitting on my hard drive somewhere. But it would be cool just to get a one interface that has all of them kind of baked in. I
have issue number 2. In pretty much perfect condition. That's the Simon's Quest one, of course.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Castlevania Collector. Of course, you'd have that one. It's end of an era. Nintendo Power is dead. Pour one out for your old friends and game counselors.
Print is dead.
Print is pretty much dead. Pretty much in the same day, 3 magazines ceased publication. There was Nintendo Power and then 2 future magazines out of the UK, the PlayStation PSM 3 and Xbox World or whatever it was called. So yeah, for something like video games, you don't really need a magazine anymore when you could go to Wikipedia or you can go to GameFAQs or you can go to IGN.com. You don't really need a magazine anymore, but I grew up with them, so they kind of really make sense to me. But
I used to love the maps in Nintendo Power, and
it was cool.
They only really apply in 2D games, though.
Yeah, it's when they had some of the 3D-ish games, like when Star Fox came out, and they would kind of draw like an isometric perspective of the level, and it was like, yeah, this doesn't really work. But yeah, they're really great for like, how the hell do I get this item in Metroid? And you'd like fold out the map, and you'd be looking, okay, I gotta go here. It was really, really kind of cool.
I remember the Mega Man 2 maps. I remember using the Airman.
Yes, I can remember that as well.
Maps.
Yeah. Oh, they were so awesome. I miss Nintendo Power, old Nintendo Power. But of course, you don't really need those maps anymore for games these days.
Right. You need to be back in that time in order for it to be of any use.
Exactly. When there was no internet, there was telling your friends about amazing things that you found in the latest game that you just made up to make them spend hours trying to duplicate that. That was a lot of fun.
We were bastards.
All right, moving on. Apparently, Nintendo hates Canadians, and it's been confirmed by the release of something that Nintendo's calling the Wii Mini. So they're selling a $99 Wii, which is about as big as a DVD case, about the same dimensions as a DVD case, but only if you stacked like 3 of them on top of each other. It's essentially a disc with a top loading assembly to put the disc into this little thing. So it's a Wii, and we'll play Wii games, and it's in red with a black top, and it comes with a cool red Wiimote and red nunchuck. But it doesn't have backwards compatibility. It doesn't have internet. It has no way of connecting to the internet at all. It doesn't have Wi-Fi or a wired connection. It is essentially a $99 Wii player that will only play Wii games and not allow you to download awesome like virtual console titles.
Yep.
I don't understand why this exists, Steven. Explain it to me. Why is this thing on the market?
This is a Nintendo business model that's existed for a long time. They release their systems in more compact forms, leaving out the features that people use the least, just so that they can manufacture them cheaply and sell more units.
I get that, but how much does a Wi-Fi chip cost on when you in scale when you're buying like 1 million of them? Like a fraction of a penny, possibly.
It's got to be very, very little, but
it just like of anything to pull out. I can understand backwards compatibility because you have to have the GameCube chip on the system somehow to play those games. So that's cost. Like those actual CPUs, they're old. I'm sure IBM doesn't want to make them anymore. ATI doesn't want to generate that old graphics card anymore. It costs them money to keep that fabrication system around. But a Wi-Fi chip that's in everything else that ever existed. Toasters have Wi-Fi now. You can get them on like light bulbs. Okay, toasters
you can get them
don't.
in SD cards.
You can get them in SD cards. I lied about the toaster, but light bulbs do have Wi-Fi. Some of the new was Samsung Wi-Fi light bulbs.
I would bet that there are Wi-Fi toasters. I wouldn't be surprised.
There probably is. They're probably running some form of Android or something. It would be pretty cool. But yeah, they took one of the biggest selling features to people like us, like the ability to get online and download things cheaply and relive old memories. They've taken it out, and I don't understand what this system exists for.
But they're not going to stop selling regular Wiis, are they?
No, and that's the thing. Like you could buy this for $100, or you could buy a regular Wii for $129. It's like, okay, spend the $30, get the real system. Although I don't believe those Wiis do backwards compatibility anymore, do they?
Nope,
the new ones.
They don't. They also don't stand up. You have to lay them down. You can't put them up on a stand because the bottom is different.
That's right. They're So anyway, the Wii Mini. Nintendo hates Canada. It's official. There we go. It's only available in Canada, and it is being hated. They hate us, and everybody hates them for it.
I have company here.
Yeah, I saw someone come down the stairs.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
Podcast guest host. All right, so this we're moving away from the Wii and the Wii U. Let's get into some 3DS stuff, at least for the next couple stories. This one is Japan has said that Japan hasn't said it. The Japanese public has said. I'll mute your mic for a second if you want to take care of that.
Okay. And I'll be right back.
Okay. They have said that the 3DS has now beaten the PlayStation 3 in lifetime sales in Japan. So that's kind of confusing to me, but I guess it kind of makes sense. And they have the numbers to prove it. So the 3DS lifetime sales is 8.8 million. I'm rounding up, of course, for this. And the PlayStation 3, okay, I can't round up because of the numbers. Okay, the 3DS is 8.799 million, where the PlayStation 3 lifetime sales in Japan is 8.71 million. So PS3 has been out for about 6 years in Japan. The 3DS didn't come out that long ago, so it's amazing that it is beating it. And not only that, the DS is basically still stomping everybody's butt. It's still selling out there, and they sold 32 million units, which kind of blows me away. So Japan, they love their Nintendo. Apparently, they don't love their PS3 as much, which can make sense to me because it's a super expensive system, especially when it first came out. And you had crazy Ken Kutaragi basically saying you should buy. You should work 2 jobs to buy one. It's worth working 2 jobs to get. It's gonna be worth it. So go out there and work more, you lazy Japanese public. Just really, really bizarre. But yeah, the 3DS now is doing really well and still being outsold by the DS, which kind of just blows my mind. Anyway, moving on, Dragon Quest VII has been announced that it's coming in Japan in February of 2013, and it's being subtitled The Warriors of Eden. So I think you're back, Stephen. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Dragon Quest VII?
Yeah, Dragon Quest VII originally came out on the PlayStation 1. I have it. I'm, video game collector in general, not just Castlevania. I also have all the Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior games. And one of the problems with Enix back when they were making, Dragon Quest before they were part of Square Enix or Enix, was that they really lowballed the tech in their games.
Right.
Dragon Warrior 7, which is what it was called on PlayStation 1, looks kind of like an NES game with some rotation stuff in it.
Right.
So it's pretty damn ugly. It's good to listen to, but that's about it. But it was a huge game. It was basically an NES game spread across 2 CD-ROMs, just to give you some sense of how big that game was. And it was supposed to be hundreds of hours in length. And I just beat Dragon Quest VI on DS just a few months ago, and just maybe 48 hours after I beat it, I had been looking at Dragon Warrior 7, my PlayStation copy, which I'd never played through. I was doing them all in order.
Right.
And it was kind of expensive on eBay too when I got it. And I'm like, it looks really ugly. Don't know if I want to play it. Maybe I should do something else first. And then, bam, Japan announces that it's coming to 3DS. They're doing a remake. It's full 3D, so it looks like more like Dragon Quest 8 or 9.
Right.
Like a PS2 game kind of a thing, which is about what you'd expect on a 3DS. And it looks really good, and we don't know if they're changing really anything else about the game, but they gave it the subtitle, and they haven't announced a US release yet. But Nintendo's been bringing all of those over for them. Square Enix has been making the games, and Nintendo's been bringing them over and promoting them and publishing them, and so they've got to be making money on them because they keep doing it.
I don't know how much money they're making because they try to sell the games for astronomical amounts on iOS. So maybe it's a good thing that Nintendo is selling their games because apparently Square Enix doesn't really know how to market which is kind of surprising.
Oh,
But
the Final Fantasy games, you mean?
yeah, all the Final Fantasy stuff is just super crazy.
Final Fantasy 3 for Android is like $15 or something.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
You can buy a used copy on your 3D on your DS for a hell of a lot less than that. Anyway, so obviously this is going to be something you're going to buy. You're not going to you're not going to import a Japanese 3DS and then the game, will you? You're not going to be one of those guys.
But even if I could play the Japanese version on my US 3DS, I wouldn't do that because it's going to be a lot of text in there. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out. I can read some kana, but I can't do kanji. So I'd probably be able to make out item names just out of familiarity,
right?
And I'd be able to make out like monster names as if I even need to, and like, you know, spell the names of the spells and stuff because those are consistent throughout.
So you know the difference between fire and fire-aga, or whatever the Japanese version of it is.
Blaze more.
Yeah, exactly.
It was back under but they changed them later.
So you're super excited for it.
Sizz and sizzle and kassizzle. That's how it works now.
Yeah, and now you know why Pokemon names were so bizarre, because that's their naming scheme. Right. So you're crazy excited for it. So you'll definitely be talking about it on the show when it comes out.
Yes.
When's the actual U.S. release?
They haven't
announced a date at all, right? Not even kind of a quarter. They've just said that it's coming out in Japan and that's it, right?
Yep, it's only announced for Japan.
Oh, unfortunately, but I'm sure it will come out. That's something that's going to happen.
And it's got a fully orchestrated score.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool. That's always a big part of big RPGs is having a really good music score just kind of playing in the background when you get into battles. So that'll be something to really look forward to.
Definitely.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into the last news story. We used to talk about Homebrew on the Wii for, I don't know, a long time way back on like the Wii Spot podcast. And it kind of dried up. There wasn't really anything interesting. Like once I got my DVD player on my Wii, I was just like, all right, I'm set. I don't really need Homebrew anymore. This is all I need. Well, when the Wii U came out, obviously it's not going to have its own Homebrew channel. The Wii U is a lot more sophisticated than what the Wii was, but it has a Wii mode. And so everybody was like, oh, I wonder if we can get the Homebrew channel and install some of the old Homebrew from the Wii. So it took all of like 3 days for hackme.com to figure out what the problem is. Nintendo had put in a couple fixes for some of the exploits they use. They put a ban on the catalog name for the Homebrew channel. So they used another hack and changed the name of the channel, and then it just started working. So if you go to hackme.com, you can find an installer for the Hackme installer 1.2, which comes and will install the Homebrew channel version 1.1.2. There's still some compatibility issues because it's not running on a Wii, it's running on a Wii U, but most of the stuff will potentially work. I haven't actually tried to install the DVD player. I should probably go do that, and because that was the only reason why I used Homebrew really on my Wii, because I didn't have a DVD player anymore. Once I got an Apple TV and started like basically I would buy a DVD disc, and this is how stupid I am. Instead of keeping a $50 DVD system in the house, I would buy a DVD, I would take it to my computer, I would hand break it down to its VOBs, I would transcode those VOBs to a file, an MP4, I would put it into iTunes, and then I would stream it on my Apple TV. So I would buy a movie, and it would take me like 4 hours to be able to watch that movie.
Wow.
And then I was like, hey, there's a Homebrew DVD player. So then I would start doing that until my Wii's DVD drive kicked the bucket. So anyway, I don't know if this is actually going to be of use for anybody, but it is available. The Homebrew channel is now on your Wii U in Wii mode. So you're not running in the Wii U mode at all. So you're not going to have any like crazy 1080p HD Homebrew games coming out. It's all going to be Wii stuff.
Give it a few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. They'll
hack the Wii U.
They move it fast.
Nintendo won't be able to do anything about it, and we'll be playing PS3 games on there or some ridiculousness.
Yeah. The one thing about Wii that is both scary but awesome is Nintendo can basically remotely start uploading patches to your system. and there's nothing you can do about it. It'll just start downloading in the background, even when your system's off. So if something like that happens, Nintendo can remotely patch it without you having to agree to anything because of the great 75-page disclaimer and terms and conditions that you read. In fact, there was some guy printed it all out or screenshotted it all as images and printed it out and read it. And there was a section in there that said, you agree to not sue us. That's what all the companies are doing now. They put something in their terms and conditions. But since it's Nintendo and they're a little bit nicer than some of the other companies, they said, if you don't agree to the assertion that you're not going to sue us, you can send us a letter by within 1 month of registering your Wii U, and then we'll add you to the list of people that are eligible to sue us. It was just like, wow, that is really bizarre. I don't know why Nintendo would put that in there. But anyway, that was kind of a little aside that didn't really even make sense. One of the parts of the terms and conditions is that Nintendo can remotely upload code to you without your knowledge, and it can disable, enable, or screw up, and Nintendo is not held liable to it. So whenever there is a hack, I'm sure Nintendo will quickly patch it out, unless people buy another Wii U and just keep it off their network and then just
or
do
if
stuff
they
that way.
patch the system to not accept those patches.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be
because the operating system has to allow the data to come in.
Exactly. So there's probably ways around it. It's going to be the cat and mouse game, just like jailbreaking on iOS, I'm sure.
Exactly. My Android phone is rooted, and I have it over the air updates blocked, because if they do come in, they'll brick my phone.
Oh, so, that's right. What kind of phone is it? HTC?
Yeah, this is an HTC Thunderbolt. It's a little old, but
yeah, they're a little bit less accepting of patches when you have a rooted system. Some of the other ones are a little bit more accepting. They can send an over-the-air patch and it will just say, "Oh, you're rooted. Okay, I'll take that away. Oh, okay, I'll apply the patch now." Nintendo could potentially get into a game like that. Like the Wii mode is potentially going to be used as a precursor to get access to the Wii U. We'll see what Nintendo did. The 3DS still hasn't been cracked, and that system's been out for a long time now. So the DS was cracked pretty much in the first month. GameCube and everything else they didn't really even have protections on the system. People from day one on the GameCube were disassembling their system and burning GameCube copies onto a DVD at $25 a pop back in the day when blanks were super expensive, and it would just run. Same with Super Nintendo and stuff like that. So the Wii was the first system that really had protections, and then the 3DS had more protections, and now the Wii U apparently is this big, I don't know, crazy castle of protections. Apparently Nintendo says that they have multiple systems to prevent any unsigned code running, but you never know.
We'll see.
Hackers have more drive than Nintendo, I think.
They do.
They want to be the first one to subvert the man and proclaim how big their e-peen is on the internet. So that motivates a lot of people. So we'll see what happens.
I was stunned that there are 3DS emulators that you can run in Windows.
Oh, really? I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's bizarre. I don't know why.
I've seen video of them on YouTube. Somebody told me today that they're a little bit glitchy. They're not particularly reliable, but honestly, if you don't want 3D, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how it starts, because then people can analyze the code a little bit better. Instead of just analyzing the ROMs, they can analyze how the system is accessing memory. They can then figure out if there's an injection system, a point where they can inject a specific bit of code, or if they can abuse a save game thing. It's kind of, emulators kind of help that along. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be a Wii U emulator one day, and they can call it Super Dolphin, and it can run things at 4K on your computer, and then they might be able to find stuff out that way. All right, man. Well, that's going to about do it for episode number 37. Stephen, thanks for joining me.
That's great. Now, you mentioned something earlier that I'll be talking about Dragon Quest VII.
Yep.
On the show. Have you mentioned to the listeners that I'm going to be back?
No, but you will be back.
I will.
Stephen is now going to be the co-host for most of the episodes. You won't be able to make all of the weeks, probably, potentially. So we'll hopefully have some other people lined up to kind of sub in, similar to what we do on the Touch of Gaming. If Jared's out of town, we'll have someone come in and fill in for a week. But you'll be the man.
I'm the new Edgar first.
For the next little while. We'll see what Edgar has to say about that. But he doesn't have a Nintendo system anymore. He lost his 3DS, so I don't know. I don't know what.
Well, he's disqualified then.
He is. He doesn't have Nintendo love anymore.
He could get the emulator.
Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, let's start up some music. What are we gonna do here? Let's do. I haven't done this for so long. It's been like months. So how about this one? We'll do this one. Have that in the background. So let us know what you think of the Nintendo Pulse. Head on over to vgpodcast.com and let us know. You can send us an email directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG Podcasts. You can, of course, check out our forums as well at vgpodcast.com/forums. Chat with fellow listeners, chat with the hosts, and let us know what you want us to talk about on future episodes of the Nintendo Pulse. We're going to try to get back into more regular episodes. Of course, with the holidays and New Year's coming up, I mean, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up, depending on what holidays you celebrate. It's probably going to be really dicey for the next few weeks, so we'll maybe post up in the show notes when we're going to come up with episode 38 and 39. I wouldn't be too surprised if that doesn't happen until the new year, but we'll play it by ear. We just we had a block to fill and wanted to get this one started, so here we are. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to all of you who have stayed subscribed to the RSS feed, even though there's been nothing on there for 6 months. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and here's to many more episodes of us talking Nintendo love. All right, Stephen, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll talk to you guys in a week or 2 or 3. Later, guys.